Hey, it's Jordan with TYT and TYT Politics. I'm here at Oceti Sakowin camp, where we're about to listen to a press conference from tribal leaders of the standing Rock Sioux tribe. They are going to be responding to the Army Corps of Engineers, who sent out a letter to the chairman, Dave Archambault, yesterday, telling them that they plan on evicting water protectors from the main Oceti Sakowin camp, where water protectors have been stationed for months to fight against the Dakota Access pipeline. The Army Corps of Engineers letter basically said that there have been laws broken by protesters, as they call them, mentioning such things as leaving garbage on federal government land, starting fires. Conveniently, the Army Corps of Engineers left out all the crimes that have been committed by the actual state police of North Dakota, like tear gas, pepper spray, shooting people with rubber bullets, among other things.
Want to spread this out? Are you guys okay?
I'm going to shut up now so you could hear the press conference.
Okay, everybody, hello. Dosha Marugoat Marishima Ishuwe. So I said hello, relatives. My name is Eagle Woman. I'm Mandan Hiradzo Rikara from Newtown, North Dakota, just northwest of here, and I work with the Indigenous Environmental Network. We'd like to thank you all for coming here today on Saturday, November 26th, and experiencing this global warming here with us today. We wanted to talk about a response to the Army Corps of Engineers letter that was received yesterday, as well as some other things during this month of November, which some of you may or may not know is Native American Heritage Month. And we're going to offer perspectives from the Youth Council with Hamas Lopez. We're going to offer perspectives from Continuation of Youth, but also Sacred Stone Camp here with Aaron Weiss, Dallas Goldtooth of the Indigenous Environmental Network. We want to hear from some of our spiritual folks in the spiritual piece, which Isaac will bring in for us. Some of the actions pieces and kind of what we've been framing with Nick Tilson here. And we'll end with comments from Tribal Chairman Dave Archambault. We are going to be providing short time at the end for a few questions. The panelists will be available afterwards on an individual basis as they agree for press to visit with one-on-one. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. I'm going to have each person introduce themselves, and we're going to start with Hamas.
Hello, thank you all for coming here today. Thank you to my elders for asking me to come and speak on behalf of the International Indigenous Youth Council. My name is Tomas Lopez Jr. I'm from Denver, Colorado. My mother is Sharon Dominguez Lopez, and my father is Sundance Chief Tomas Lopez Sr. I am here to talk about the past few hundred years and the many broken treaties that have occurred. We've been lied to for over 500 years, and we're here to request that President Obama honor his word that he made to the Standing Rock Youth when he came here in 2014. President Obama, when you came here, you promised that you would protect tribal sovereignty and spiritual belief. You promised to protect our sacred way of life. And here we are today standing up for that sacred way of life. And where are you? You are in silence. You mentioned nothing on your Thanksgiving Day. You spoke nothing of us or to us. Many of our council members on the International Indigenous Youth Council, if not all of the members on the International Indigenous Youth Council, have experienced the brutality that has come from the Morton County Sheriff's Office and also the National Guard, from broken limbs, injuries from flash bombs, internal bruising, and the everlasting consequences and results of PTSD. I'm asking you now, President Obama, if this were happening to your daughters, Sasha and Malia, would you say something? Or would you stand in silence and let them brutalize your own children? On behalf of the International Indigenous Youth Council and our allies and all youth around the world, we are asking that you step in now and assist us in stopping the Dakota Access pipeline.
Sanjo, my name is Coastiwe. My name is Aaron Wise. I come from the Hickory Apache Nation in Laguna Pueblo in New Mexico. And I'm here to represent my aunt LaDonna Brave Bull Allard, who is the founder of the Sacred Stone Camp. When my auntie came in April, she told me that her intention was not to set up a camp that looked like this. Her intention was to stop people from putting a pipeline in the place before her son's grave. She said that she wanted to ensure a peaceful resting place for her son, and she did not think that when she started her camp it was going to evolve into this. She's grateful for it. But on behalf of Sacred Stone Camp and my aunt, we went to Washington, D.C. last week, and we met with the General of the United States Army Corps of Engineers, and he looked me in the eye, and I told him what happens in the dead of night when people aren't watching. I told him of the purveyance of rape culture in the United States, and I told him what happens to people that are left unprotected. Right now, our land is to be left unprotected if we are to leave this space. And being a woman that has survived sexual assault, I just want to say that we are not going to allow that to happen to our mother. We stand with all women who have been hurt, but we especially stand with our mother, who is continually hurt and sanctioned by the United States government. That hurt is a continuance of the hurt that has been brought upon us for the last 500 years. We're not going to stand for it anymore. I also want to say to President Obama that, in light of what Tomas said, the Indigenous youth are calling upon the United States government for protection. They're begging for people to start caring about them. We have 3 times the national rate of suicide in any other community. We have children that are killing themselves every single day because they want to be a part of this country so badly, but they are continually ignored. And my aunt, who stands behind our youth councils here and who is a grandmother and a mother herself, she does represent the sacred here, and the children are what we need to protect. We need to think about them going forward. And I think that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers needs to remember that these are children that we are protecting, and that if they continue to support Morton County and the North Dakota state government, that they are not protecting the children and that they are responsible for. I would just ask that whoever is watching this that is in power, you remember the children, and you remember that we as sacred people, as prayerful people, will continue to make our stand. Done.
My name is Dallas Goldtooth. I'm Dakota, and I work with the Indigenous Environmental Network. And I first and foremost want to acknowledge all our relatives who've traveled from afar, and also acknowledge our relatives, the Hunkpapa Oyate, and relatives from the Standing Rock Sioux Nation who invited us to this land, and we're their guests, and say acknowledgements for that. I also wanted to say that we have our relative, our sister organization, Honor the Earth, couldn't be here at this moment. They had a representative supposed to be planned to speak, but 4 of their vehicles had all their tires slashed this morning in Mandan up in North Dakota, and so their vehicles are incapacitated, and it just demonstrates the environment in which we are in right now. This letter by the Army Corps of Engineers is just a disgusting continuation of 500 years of colonization and systemic oppression. And it's absurd for us to see such a declaration the day after Thanksgiving. But that's the state of the affairs that we are in. It doesn't matter whether you're Dakota, Lakota, Nueta, Sanish, or Cheyenne. This is the land our ancestors are from. This is the land where our ancestors dreamed of our existence, of our songs, and of our future lives. And in defense of those dreams, in defense of our ancestors, we stand strong. We stand strong to protect the sacredness of Mother Earth. We stand strong to defend our rights as Indigenous peoples. And we stand strong to defend our territorial treaty rights as Oceti Sakowin Oyate. That's the stand that we make, and we continue to stand by that. This movement that you see before us is not a movement of hate, but just a movement of undying love for our land and our people and the water. And that's what we're here for, and that's what we'll stick to. So thank you very much.
government chajeki Isaac Weston machapi oglala ematahana inawaiki gilmastans na atewaiki Ernest Weston Senior macha echiapi. I'm of the Great Sioux Nation and I represent my Oglala Lakota people. We've started we brought back the Oceti Sakowin and the fire is lit. And there's representatives here from all 7 council fires. And our biggest concern is the Army Corps and the United States government needs to honor our treaties. From the 1851 to 1868. 1868, our boundaries go to the Heart River, just north of here. So these are our lands, and we have treaty Indians here who are here to enforce that treaty. And the Army Corps of Engineers, they aren't our landlords. As it states in the treaties that us as the Oceti Sakowin, the Lakota, Dakota, Nakota people, we are the wardens of the land. This is our land. They can't remove us. They need to respect our treaties and respect our rights. In violations of Executive Order 647 that Obama signed himself in 2013, that they have to honor our treaties. They have to honor our rights as indigenous people. And in the order, Executive Order 13007, we have our rights to be on federal lands in which we can pray. And these lands that we stand on, there are old Sundance grounds, there are old Vision Quest sites, there's old burial sites here. We have every right to be here and protect our land and protect our water.
My name is Nick Tilson. I'm from Porcupine, South Dakota on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Oglala Lakota, father of 4 children, and I'm here representing the Indigenous Peoples Power Project. We've been here since August, helping the camp ground ourselves in nonviolence and in nonviolent direct action. To date, we've probably trained over 3,000 people in this camp in nonviolent direct action, because nonviolent direct action is connected to our indigenous values of prayer. And we were told in ceremonies that we did in our indigenous values and founded in nonviolence and founded in prayer, that if we stay nonviolent and we stay prayerful, that we will win. And I would like to remind Morton County, remind the Army Corps that we are unarmed. We've been unarmed and will continue to be unarmed. We are only armed with our prayers. We're armed with our bodies. We're armed with our faith that we have, and what we're here to make a stand. And every time that we have done action, every time we have taken action, we have done it based on these values, and we'll continue to do it based on these values. But we have been met with aggression. We have been met with violence. That violence has been put upon us, and this eviction notice continues to show the United States government and the Army Corps of Engineers and Morton County's ability to escalate to a point of violence. That's not our goal here. Our goal here is to stay peaceful, to stay prayerful, to stay focused on what we're here for, and that's stopping the Dakota Access pipeline. And they have an option. In the next 10 days, we are calling for them to deny the easement, to permanently stop the Dakota Access pipeline through treaty lands. And in this camp will continue to be grounded in prayer, in nonviolence, in nonviolent direct action. These are strategies that different movements around the world have been taking for generations, and we are borrowing from those different movements and combining them with indigenous values that we have here today. And so we ask that Morton County and the Army Corps of Engineers be honest, tell the truth. When they see us coming forward, when they see us at these actions, when they see us making a stand, they see us in prayer, they see us peacefully, but they have been acting aggression upon us. And so we are asking accountability for that, for the violence that's been portrayed on our people. And our grounding in spirituality, the reason why there's not guns in this camp, the reason why there's not alcohol and drugs in this camp, is because we don't bring those things to Sundance. We don't bring those things to ceremony. We don't bring those things because it doesn't align with who we are. That's how strong our commitment is here. And we understand that our ancestors are here with us, that we're not alone, that's who we have to be accountable to in the work that we do. And it's part of our very identity of who we are, and that's why we're here. And we will continue to remain peaceful. We will continue to remain nonviolent, and we will do it with strategy. But we want America to know that as Indigenous people, we are not victims. This movement exists here because we are powerful, because Indigenous people have reclaimed power, and because we have been doing it through our Indigenous values.
I just want to thank everybody. My name is Dave Archambault. I'm the chairman of the Rock Sioux tribe. And I just want to thank everybody for their continued commitment, continued sacrifices that they're making to build the awareness that is happening. When I got the letter from the Corps of Engineers, the first thing I read was for public safety. You know, the Corps of Engineers is saying that the environment, or the weather, the weather's coming, the harsh winters, so they're aware of that. And then the continued confrontations that are escalating with between the law enforcement and the water protectors is becoming more and more unsafe, and some serious injuries are starting to take place. So because of that, they sent a letter, and if they want public safety, the best thing for the federal government to do is to deny the easement. The best thing for the government to do is to step back and really analyze what has happened with the environmental assessment. When you look at the environmental assessment, all you're taking a look at is Earth. When you go into a full environmental impact statement and review what's happening, you take people into consideration. And what's happening here is people are lost. You know, they're taking the environment as being more important than human lives, and we have an escalating situation where safety is a concern for everybody. We need to realize that and understand that. So to stop this all, what we need to do is to ask the federal government, ask the President of the United States to deny the easement, and to continue to stand behind his words when he says we need to recognize the treaties. So this, and what I think is happening is they're giving us notice because they want to reduce, the Corps of Engineers wants to reduce their liability when something serious happens. If they're going to reduce their liability, they're going to push it off onto somebody else. So they sent this letter out, not just to me, but to all the Great Plains tribes. All the Great Plains tribes got this letter, so the responsibility of what takes place, and I'm not worried about it because I know what's happening here is in prayer. It's in peace, and as long as we continue to stay in prayer and in peace, we can accomplish a lot of things in life. As long as we stay united and with prayer, there's nothing that we can't accomplish. So it's really important that we continue to stand together and we continue to be on the same page, and put our own self-interests aside, and let's work towards the collective greater good for all.
So to date, there are 748 tribal nations across 22 cities standing with Standing Rock. We are asking people, perhaps one of the most important things that they can do if they can't be here is to pray. Send your prayers. The power of prayer is amazing, whatever that looks like to you. We have the ability for people to pitch into our cause here by going to standwithstandingrock.net. Contribute to the tribe. go to OcetiSakowincamp.org and contribute to this camp. SacredStoneCamp.org if you want to contribute to the original camp. These are places that people can go to get updated information. You can go on our Facebook pages, Indigenous Rising Media, and follow and share the reality of what's happening and not the propaganda that continues to be perpetuated by the Morton County Sheriff's Department in their violent and criminal human rights abuses against peaceful Native people and our allies that are simply doing one thing: protecting life. Mini Wichoni! Mini Wichoni! Mini Wichoni! Mini Wichoni! With that, I would like to take a few questions. And what I'd like you to do is go ahead and I'll field about 3 questions. And we'll, if you have it for anybody, direct that to it too. Speak up loud and clear. I'll start with you and I'll come right here.
I'd like to address my first question, Mr. Chairman. Has your legal counsel taken into consideration Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s tact, the whole approach of the 2 permits and how they misappropriated their permit request? Secondly, the fact that they're in violation of environmental law, given that only 30 jobs will be created and all this oil is going to China.
We continue to look at all legal options, and we continue to analyze everything that we can in federal court. And that's the problem, is that the federal court has never been good to Indian communities, and we never have a successful record. So if we really want to fight this thing, it's going to take Oceti Sakowin to revisit the Constitution and constitutional law and treaty law. I think that's where we have our best chance, because if we continue to wait for the federal government, the federal law, and the federal court to rule in our favor, it probably won't happen.
Do you think President Obama will institute the...
We're going to go ahead and go with 1 question. Thank you, per person.
Hey Dave, Jordan with the Young Turks. I want to ask you, this letter mentions breaches of law by, as they call it, the protesters, such things as leaving garbage on the ground, such things as starting fires. There was no mention of the countless war crimes and human rights violations by the Morton County Sheriff, as well as private security. Do you think that was a deliberate, lack of putting that in there, or do you think the Army Corps essentially is looking the other way?
Well, I think the first thing that we have to do is be mindful of what we do, be mindful of who we are, to be mindful of where we're at and who we represent. And if there is garbage, what are we here for? We're here to protect the water. We should be doing what we can to make sure that this place that we're at is kept sacred. And if it's kept sacred, we can still continue to move forward. But as far as the North Dakota police and the state of North Dakota, they have unbridled power to use, and they use those forces against all our allies. It's obvious, and the Corps of Engineers is not going to state anything with that. So we understand that, and we know that that takes place, and we have the evidence, we have proof. So we're just going to keep moving forward, but we need to be mindful of where we're at and what we're doing, so that nobody can say that we're contaminating the earth.
Thank you.
Chairman Archambault, in your capacity as the chairman of the Tribal Council, are you in fact in the Tribal Council inviting the water protectors to remain on your tribal land despite the order of the U.S. Corps of Engineers to vacate? Is there an invitation being extended by the Tribal Council to remain?
What we have is a situation where safety, again, is that concern for everybody. And we know that where this camp is right now is on a floodplain. So we're doing our best to try to accommodate, and that's what we've been doing from day one. We do have a location that we're trying to establish for a safe place. And I understand that not everybody wants to leave these lands right here. This is a sacred place and it's ceremonial. But when there is the time, when temperatures are intolerable and unsafe, we need to have a place for our guests we need to accommodate for them so that they're out of danger. And we are establishing a place just like that for the people here and accommodate for all of our guests. And we're thankful and we're welcome for the support that it has, the awareness that it has brought. It's just been overnight it came to this. So there's no way that you can plan or do everything to assure that everyone is kept safe. So we end up reacting to whatever the situation is. What we're doing right now is we're trying to be proactive for when that situation comes where there's harsh weather.
Thank you. Chairman, what do you think will happen to the camp if the Army Corps does arrive on the 5th and tries to forcibly evict people?
I don't think the Army Corps of Engineers is going to come on the 5th. I don't think anybody's going to, the Morton County Sheriff's Department, Morton County Police has, they have jurisdiction, proprietary jurisdiction over these lands. Or whenever there's any crime taking place, we're not committing any crime. If the Morton County wanted to, they would be able to come in and remove us. I don't think that will happen. I don't think the Corps of Engineers is going to come in on the 5th and try to remove us. What they gave us was a notice that these public lands are no longer available for hunting and for fishing and for recreation. Recreation can include camping, but what we're doing here is exercising our First Amendment right, and we're not breaking any laws. We're not violating any laws. So for the Corps, they don't have a armed force or a military or a law and order branch. So they'll have to call in somebody else to come in, whether it's the U.S. Marshals or the local police. I don't think that will happen on the 5th. But what it does do though is it helps us start to think about mitigation for this area. If it was to happen, we need to be given notice, in advance notice, so that we can assure that a lot of the property is not damaged, is not destroyed, and it's not, I don't think it will ever be an eviction where forces come in and just push people out. They would give us notice, and I haven't gotten notice that there's forces coming. All I have noticed is that these lands are no longer available for hunting, fishing, recreation. So we understand that. Now that reduces the liability from the Corps of Engineers, and it puts the liability onto the tribe. So as guests, we have to be mindful of what we're doing. We can't contaminate. We can't put garbage out there. We can't be punching holes all over the ground. We have to be mindful of where we're at and what we're doing, all of us, while we're here. And we just continue to stay in prayer and peace. And I believe that the Creator will hear our prayers, and I believe that, and I'm hopeful that the President of the United States takes action and doesn't leave his 8-year term with the disappointing the Native communities.
I guess I want to add on to what Chairman's saying is that, suggested forced removal and state oppression, this is nothing new to us as Native people, right? We've been here before and we've gotten through it. We got this. I don't think that the purpose of this letter, my personal thoughts is, these are just intimidation statements. These are things that put us into a reactionary space, and we refuse to be in a reactionary space. Like my brother Nick Tilson said, we refuse. We are not victims in this situation. That this movement that you see behind us, that this movement that you see across this world was built out of power based on indigenous rights, based on our struggle to defend our rights as indigenous peoples and our ability to self-determine for ourselves what happens to our land, what happens to our water, and what happens to our bodies. That's the core of this movement, and so we stay focused on that. We don't want to get stuck in. We refuse to get stuck into the reactionary about the what ifs and what that. But we are going to be mindful and be prepared for what may come and run through the scenarios. And I agree with the chairman. I think we all agree that what the letter was not like we're gonna raid on this date. It was just a notice, and we just are mindful of that. But we are staying here committed to our prayer, the original intent of that fire that was lit, and understand that that this is a movement that is based on the principles of the Oceti Sakowin, the 7 council fires of the Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, Oyate. And that those principles, that fire is what's guiding us through. And it's that commitment and our faith in that fire that's going to get us through this, and that we're going to beat and stop this black snake.
We're going to take 2 more questions here.
Does this mean that the veterans are still scheduled and planned to arrive here between the 4th and the 7th? Is that still scheduled as planned?
As far as we know, yes, the
Yes,
veterans.
it is, and the last RSVP count that we got for the veterans that are going to come here is 1,500 veterans coming between the 7th. Right here.
So from what I can tell, the whole world is watching. How important is that to you, the non-native people that are here and the support you're seeing from all over the world? What do you have to say?
Well, I'm not non-native, so I guess I can just speak to the fact that as a youth and as someone who represents future generations, who is 7th generation, I can just say thank you for finally seeing us. A lot of people don't, and I'm grateful every day when I wake up and I look out and we stand together and we pray as a youth council and we see all of you coming together for us. That's an incredible thing. We've never had support like that in this country. Please continue to come and support us. Please continue to pray for us. Please continue to remember that we're here. Please continue to educate yourselves. The history that America has been teaching its children is wrong. And we're here rewriting history, reminding everyone who we are, what we stand for, and what we intend to do. And we are taking back our lands. We're taking back our languages. We're taking back our culture, and no one will ever take it back or take it away from us again. That's something that I can promise you. What you are seeing right now is a resurgence of our power, and it will never be taken away from us again.
Okay, to touch up on that, I'd like to thank all the peoples from across the world and of all colors. Personally, I see everyone as a human being, and I see everyone all have a heart. We all have a heart. We all share that same beating heartbeat, and it's opening my eyes more to what I heard a while back was that all of us across this Unchimaka, this Mother Earth, we're nothing but mud, and that is all we're ever gonna be. When we all die, we're all gonna turn to mud. And we are Unchimaka. Everything that is her is us. So everyone across the world, I thank you, and with my whole heart. And if you want to do something, rise, stand up where you're at. If you feel you can't be here at the moment, do something where you're at. To show the people that you are in solidarity with human beings.
Same lady here, you had your hand raised. You good?
I just wanted to ask Chairman Archambault, you said that you're preparing a safe place to move if it's necessary. Is that the free speech zone that the Army Corps has talked about in the letter that's south of the river, or someplace else?
No, what the Army Corps of Engineers is saying is that the core land just south of the Cannonball River, where the Rosebud camp is, and the Sacred Stone camp, that is the free speech zone that they're designating. But the land north of the Cannonball River, which we're on, is what he's asking, that it's going to be closed.
But you said you were preparing a site here. Where generally would that be?
What we're looking at is a place where, see, what happened the other night was we had the Morton County Sheriff's Department police using water and spraying it on individuals and below freezing temperatures, which is really dangerous. So we have to have a place for them to warm up. They were being transported to the camp, and then from there they were taken to Cannonball, to the gymnasium. And so we're reacting. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build some permanent structures that can provide heat and not have to react and use the facilities that are here on Standing Rock. So we're looking at north of the highway that goes into Cannonball, where the South Howard is standing. We have 50 acres there from the tribe, and we're planning on building earth lodges and other permanent structures so that people who would like to come off the river bottom, which we're on now, and set up camp, Oceti Sakowin or anybody, we say that place is available. And when it's on the reservation, we have the capabilities of utilizing some of our resources to protect and make sure people are safe.
Can you say what highway that is again? These are going to be
the last two questions.
I just want to add on to that really quick. I just wanted to clarify for everyone, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that the United States was a free speech zone. So, as much as I appreciate the United States Army Corps of Engineers designating us, again, another plot of land where we can exist and speak, they do represent the entire government that wrote the whole thing about us having the ability to speak, wherever. Go ahead, Nick.
I just want to say, there's not a indigenous person in this camp who has intention of moving not on their own terms. Yeah. The tribe is making a space because they're taking some responsibility for safety. But indigenous people are here to stay, and we're not going to move unless it's on our own terms, because this is our treaty land. This is our ancestral land. This is where our people have been for thousands of years. That intention doesn't exist between the indigenous people in this camp. This letter coming out, I also don't know an indigenous person in this camp who's fearful of it either. Because we're not fearful. Where we arrived at as a people, where we're at right now, we came through a lot to get rid of that. We went through a lot of healing. We went through a lot of ceremonies, and what's left is pure love for our land, pure love for our people. And there's not place for fear in that. And so to the Army Corps who sent that letter, I mean, the message from indigenous people here is the letter means nothing to us, because our purpose here is to stop the Dakota Access pipeline, and that's our message.
Thank you, Nick. Across the way, you, and then you're going to have the last question.
Chris Stewart, APTN National News in Canada. The government's given a deadline of December 5th. What happens to this camp on December 6th?
We already had that.
I think that he just answered that question.
Yeah. It goes on.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to acknowledge all the frontliners, the ones that made sacrifices, the ones that were injured. Let's not forget Sophia. Let's not forget Red Fawn. These are frontliners. These are people that were willing to be sacrificed. And so I just want to acknowledge all the frontliners. I've been coming here since August, and each time I come here, it seems like it has escalated. From the Morton County Police, from lies, from attacking and hurting our people. I used to bring my grandson here. I can't even bring him here because he's so afraid of the police and DAPL. So we need to recognize Red Fawn and Sophia. We need to continue to support them. We need to continue to support our frontliners. Let's not forget them. They are also with us in solidarity. Aho.
So Red Fawn has her court date on Monday. They will be asking people to wear red and stand in solidarity with her. Susie is continuing to undergo surgery for her retina, which was injured when she was almost hit in the eye. When she was hit in the eye. And Sophia is continuing to undergo surgeries where they are taking veins and muscles from other parts of her body to reconstruct her arm. They used violent force against us. So I just wanted to give those updates and let Tomas say some words as the youth. The youth started this. The youth ran. They ran in their own community, and they were like, we feel good. So what should we do next? And then so they ran to Nebraska. And they went to the Corps offices and they said, we don't want this. They said, we feel good. What should we do next? We're gonna run to DC and we're gonna reclaim all of this as Indigenous youth. They started it, and it's only fitting that Tomas here gets to have the final words at this press conference.
Again, thank you to my elders for allowing me to speak. The Standing Rock youth were the ones that started this.
That's right.
And I wish that my brothers and sisters were here right now and we could all speak, because their stories are so important. Their stories are the story of Standing Rock. They are what will go on to the future. These are the stories that are going to be heard. What we are doing here as the youth is we are ensuring that our tomorrow is safe. We are ensuring that our tomorrow still exists, that the next 7 generations can have the same drinking water and the same air and the same earth that we did today. We don't want to have to explain to our kids one day what clean drinking water tasted like. To touch a bit on what you said about people being brutalized, what I want to tell everybody is that for the past 500 years, these people and these mercenaries that this government protects have been controlling us. They've told us what to do, and we've almost given them the reaction that they want. And what we're doing here at Standing Rock is telling all of the oppressors around the world that oppress Indigenous people, we will no longer give you what you want. We stand as a rock. And when a river meets a rock, it will move it. But when the rocks stand together, the river will go around it. When I was arrested in Bismarck for praying, for exercising my First Amendment right, the Chinese proverb came into my head: no matter which way the wind howls, the mountain will never bow to it. And what I want everybody in that racist, white supremacist group to know is that not only do we love you, but we will not be moved by you. Do with our physical bodies what you want, but you will never, ever have our souls, have our spirits, or have our hearts. Aho, mita.
Everybody please remember, this pipeline is over 1,100 miles long. Yes, it also goes through South Dakota, Iowa, that have been fighting constantly, endlessly, tirelessly, and have been asking for our love and our prayers. So everybody please send much, much love to our brothers and sisters in Iowa that often feel like they're almost losing their battle. Let's let them know that we are standing in solidarity, that we will win this together, because one injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere, you know? So we're in this together. Matigirads, everybody. This concludes our panel today. Thank you. Thank you.
I got a question for the world out there, because all the eyes are on this little tribe here. What if it was a bunch of natives that went out there and overtook that, or any federal land? What would the outcome be?
Back using their rights again under their claim, not as permittees, not as a privilege, but as a right, and to get the economics here in the county revived again and get it hopping again. So we see the roads full of logging trucks and vehicles and recreational vehicles like it used to be.